My opinion, the solution, we need to diversify economy. We must have entrepreneurs, innovators, and risk takers to stimulate healthy environment with a private investment and employment prospect. So to satisfy this, along with network with colleagues and mentors, I'm launching a new foundation based on NGO model. Its mission to create entrepreneur environment in science, engineering, and technology in the Middle East were never done before. This NGO will support young scientists and engineers, male and female. We want them to be innovative. We want them to make a new market and forming new companies. A focus of science to social needs, with direct connection to the youth to bring vision, hope, and direction, and contact with the knowledge leader. And being a woman, this will empower women, leading to encourage and propose society. So we plan to launch this foundation, inshallah, in 2 weeks' time from here at public conference, and I hope all you can join us. In summary, I have spent many years traveling from one continent to another, trying to learn how to make a difference in this world. And all of this I have learned, and I have believed in that. When you give something to the society, whatever form, without you realizing, you become a star. You can give guidance to someone else to better life. Believe in yourself. Look beyond the sky and beneath the ground. Make it is the mission of your scholarship study. Spend on this, you will have 1000% outcome. I also believe without breakthroughs, without creativity and science, there will be no progress. And we will be victim, stuck to the same point, caught internally in the same loop. Thank you very much. Einstein has a message to give you. I'm happy to hear from you all, please. Any question, any comment?
Biotechnology or medicine is not my cup of tea, لكن on behalf of all Saudi students in Ottawa, we would like to thank you very much for being with us. We are all inspired by your story and your passion. Thank you very much again, and it's a big honor to have you with us. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Ghada Abdullah, PhD in Nursing, University of Ottawa. 2 comments. First of all, thank you very much for the inspiring talk. In this moment of life, we really need to hear such things. I did my master in UK, and really understand exactly what you are talking about. Sometimes you had the feeling that you want to run away from them. Second question related to your research. What's the sensitivity? Like, do you have any research proving the sensitivity of your chip? So for example, if I have the blood done in the blood work and I have your chip, so which one the sensitivity is higher? Thank you very much.
First of all, thank you for sharing the feeling of studying in the UK. In terms of the sensitivity, we can pick up nanogram per centimeter square, so it's very sensitive to low molecular weight in the blood.
Thank you, Dr. Hayat, for a nice presentation. You were such an inspired. First I'm Hassan Al-Hashmi. I'm doing advanced material and manufacturing. My question is just about the aluminium. You said like use a drop of the aluminium on the top of glass. I think, is it glass fiber?
It's just a normal glass.
Okay. So, what do you mean by like dropping a drop of the blood on the glass, on the aluminium, and touch?
Actually, it's the sensor is a glass, but I needed the aluminium underneath to create the vibration by the laser, because the movement of aluminium would couple the acoustic impedance of the aluminium is similar as the glass. So when it vibrates underneath the glass, it creates the acoustic wave.
So it's already.
Sorry.
Is it already subjected to the laser before like you use it or after?
It needs the laser as a continuous pulse to be able to create the wave. So I'm using acoustic wave, and this is vibration. Usually acoustic wave very sensitive. And the way I use laser, because I wanted to create acoustic wave without wires. Because for decades, for 30, 40 years, biosensors and acoustic biosensors have been using wires. And wires, for example, like made of gold or silver, they have it on the surface in the top to create the voltage was going to create the wave. So I get rid of all of that. I don't want that, because that's the background noise is always false indication. And also I get rid of the piezoelectric material, because that's what they use. It's like piezoelectric in the Greeks mean when you apply pressure, piezo, they give you electricity. And that's the material they use usually for acoustic. And also sometimes they can be expensive, because the way they grow them to be a single crystal. I'm sorry for the terminology, but I needed to explain. So I get rid of all of that. I don't want piezoelectric, I don't want electrode, I want something very low cost. I want something to be also very sensitive, because the normal operating of acoustic biosensor between 9 megahertz to 500 maximum top. And that's come time, you know, the more you go in the frequency, you need to make it very thin. And the thinner you go, it's fragile, it doesn't survive. So it's very bad dampness in liquid. And any technician dream actually to have a sensor can work in blood. So I get rid of that too. So I made it 2 gigahertz. It's tunable. I can have like a radio. I can tune any frequency I want according to what cells I'm measuring. I can see it and I can hear it, so its sensitivity is very high because the detection is combined too well. It's a glass. I can sometimes even use plastic if I don't want to have very high frequency. And it's nanometer thick. And I can also spot about, you know, this is, I said, in this 1 centimeter square, I have 2,500 spots. We can have each one of them, you have different chemistry. And I can also, I did some measurement, or I can have 1 million probe of DNA in my spot. So I hope I answer your question. So what happens is like you have a flow cell blood flow to the surface with your analyte, and the vibration before, as I mentioned before, if you have nothing in the blood or you have, it can alter, and the alteration in the vibration related to the concentration or your biological life.
Thank you. And as you being here, like I would like you just to encourage students for the science would make a difference in the world, science and engineering. So would you say some nice word about like what's the influence of the science and engineering in the people's lives?
I am biased, of course, and that's what the foundation is for the science, engineering, and technology. And I think the world does need science and engineering and women.
University. My question to you, Dr. Hayat. First, I wish that I've heard your talk long time ago, but never too late. So my question to you, I understood like from your the chip that you invented, how sensitive it is to detect cancer molecules as a screening or diagnostic tool. But my question, how sensitive it is to detect the cancer molecule, or how specific it is to detect cancer molecule. And if we are talking about the protein molecular weight, which gonna create the acoustic wave that affect the laser, and from there that the diagnosis will come. So is it applicable for other kind of cancer, like to detect the same molecular weight protein, which I know that cancer does share the same molecular weight protein? This is one part of my question. The other part is, as a diagnostic or screening tool, how how is it compared to the gold standard test in form of screening or diagnosis breast cancer specifically that you had by your chip? And I understand that the diagnostic tool, that screening tool is basically the mammogram and self-breast examination. Thank you.
I think you have 7 questions. I'm happy to answer them all, of course. The sensitivity of the device, as I mentioned, because it's very high in gigahertz, so it can even test single match pair of DNA. So even you have 1 bond or 2 bonds, it's not connected. You can test that because acoustic biosensor, I don't know how much you know about it, it's not just a normal testing mass. You are testing their viscosity, elasticity, mass, their electric property, conductivity, and all of that going to translate to the surface force. And surface force is a key parameter in acoustic diagnostic. And this is an amazing type of measurement because I'm not only just measuring, as I mentioned, and even it's like when you have DNA there, you can test by adding certain ions if it's going to be stiff or wobbly. Acoustic, it's like a window. It's like a screen, you can see how molecules are behaving. Yes, it can be applied to different cancer tests, and that's why I did some preliminary work on normal, like standard, because I came with something different in terms of acoustic. You have to go through the standard, otherwise you cannot have a pattern, you cannot have a community, whatever. So you go through the protein and antibodies and DNA. So yes, and also the markers. I'm interested. The existing method detect cancer in late stages. Okay, I'm trying to detect cancer in any stage when there are a marker in the blood. And hopefully, that's why the main purpose for me to go yesterday to visit the hospital and talk with the great scientists, how can provide them a tool to help them before even get the tumor, to understand how we can have the right tools, that the other side of the diagnostic, to be able to understand in terms of the chemistry and surface chemistry what happens in the cells. So I hope I answered everything.
Assalamu alaikum, Hawazin Faiz Badawi. I'm a computer science master student in the University of Ottawa. First of all, it's my pleasure to meet you for the 2nd time in my life. And now I'm here in Canada to continue my work in computer science under the ambient intelligent healthcare systems. I would like to ask you, regarding the DFA, can we use it for non-patient people? I mean, if I want to develop a system for monitoring kids in the school, and I want to make it just as a device that any mother can, obtain it in order to receive a complete history for her kids for that day, for example. Can we use it for non-patient people and deploy it in a regular device? Because when we discussed this idea with the professor, he told me that there is, the medical barrier for us, that we couldn't, go deeply in the medical area. So it's much better to use sensory technology and a device, in a commercial device, much better for us as a computer science student, other than using it for the medical field. So can we use it or no? Can we deploy it in such devices or no? Thank you.
So your question, can we use it? We don't have to be a doctors or
and for non-medical purposes, for non-patient.
Okay, yes, this is designed actually to fit the way of life for developing world. And remember, we don't have a lot of doctors or skilled person to be there. So sometimes we just give it to a technician or medical representative who can understand what does that mean. But also the danger to give it to the patient, because the whole idea of this is monitoring. Okay, so the doctor, he will understand how can he take an action further. This is at the moment what we're doing. But it doesn't mean that we're going to develop something. You can sell it to the CDC or the pharmacy. People take it home, and depending how is the market will be. But at the moment, this one, we cannot just give it to the normal. It has to be linked to it, because it has to be after that an action taken after that. So if the patient take it home and he sees the color is so red and he doesn't know what to do, then it will be scary for him. So this is all for doctor to monitor. It replaces the labs with $2 million to 1 cent. But it doesn't mean that we cannot have in the future if we needed to do.
So can parents, for example, use the information, sent by these sensors to contact with their kids' physicians in order to avoid, the visiting doctor issue with the kids?
You're 100% right. Actually, I would like to see this technology in my country, for example, in Pilgrim, when we have a great amount of people there who can have it in a backpack, and they can monitor if there's like dehydration or anything before they get faint or anything like that. So before they can walk in their own feet to the clinic and ask the doctor, I don't feel well, look at this. Yes, that could be, I would love to see another application for that. And that's what we want to make science affordable, accessible to everyone in the world.
And make life easy. That's it.
Simple.
Thank you.
Thank you.
مشكورك على هذه المحاضرة القيمة. عندي موضوع خيالي كده، حتى أتوقع في يوم يعني يكون كت من 10 شرايح، تحط نقطة دم، تضع نقطة دم على الشريحة، وقول إذا كان الشريحة لونها أزرق مثلا أبلع الشريحة هي العلاج. والسلام عليكم.
Sorry, I didn't hear you. Everybody's laughing except me. I look dumb.
يقول هل تتخيل انه في يوم من الايام يكون العلم وصل الى انه تكون في شرائح معينه مثلا الواحد يحط قطره دم على الشريحه هذه تشخص المرض وتكون هي نفس الشريحه العلاج يبلعها وخلاص.
Yes, I'm imagining something even worse than this. I'm imagining something like a jacket, a smart jacket. It's actually an office. You can go everywhere. It has your, computer, your secretary, wherever. Everything is like in one jacket. It's weight nothing. So you don't have to go to an office. You just have your office with you. So yes, why not?
Assalamu alaikum. Nijda Yamani, radiation oncologist. I just need to know one question. I need to know a little bit about your Mars project and how we apply it in medicine. That's it. Thank you.
Mars project was a breakthrough in acoustic type of how we can make a sensor without wires, and that was a PhD my work. Mars is magnetic acoustic resonance sensor. We did use it in the medical field. We use it in prion project, prion one mad cow disease. We use it to understand what the beauty about Mars is you can study real-time analysis to the chemistry and biochemistry changing when you have a drug. So what we did actually, when we have the prion project, it's like a lot of surgical tools went one pot to clean. And that was a problem because contamination, I didn't know why. And the prion actually, if you put it in a high heat, actually loves it. So embedded within the texture of the metal. So when it's cooled down and surgeon will use it again, it looks clean, sterile. It actually is given life again when it's cooled down. So it operates and then the patient receives the prion and get contaminated. So when we changed the Mars from glass or plastic and put the surgical tool, and we studied in real time when we had the prion, what happened when the prion reacted with the material. And we found that just tap water is good enough to get rid of the prion. So yes, that's one of the areas. And also another one area is like we study in the combination of library of drugs for drug companies, screening for the light library, because sometimes it takes billions of dollars to screen for drug, but just one it can screen many in very cheap or expensive less time way.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Al-Shaira, obstetric and gynecology resident, McGill University. By the way, I didn't sleep last night because I was on call, and I drove 2 hours today from Montreal to here just to meet you because you're one of my role models, and I'm really glad to meet you. My question is away from the scientific world. I mean, as a Saudi scientist, I mean, after telling us the story of your life, and as you said, we have a lot of talented, Saudi girls back home. What do you think is the problem? I mean, is the problem in us? Is the problem the surrounding environment, and what advice you're advising the Saudi ladies? I mean, is it the solution?